What's up, designers and decorators? It's Timothy. I hope you all are doing fantastic. So, let's talk about welcome packets and if they're really necessary, what should you include in them, what mistakes to avoid, even more so, how to display that to your client because there's so many options here. And first of all, I really feel that this welcome package should absolutely fit your brand. If you don't have a current brand, and I'm talking about brand meaning like everything is cohesive from your website to your business card. Like if someone were to go to you and look at your business card and then go to your website after, they can make that connection as the same company. If you can't make that connection, your brand is off, and you should really focus on that before going into a welcome package based off of your brand. If you're eclectic and everything's skedaddled and skedaddled? Is that scattered? Whatever. Fucking skedaddled, I'll use. My New York came out just there. And for those New Yorkers listening, you know what I'm talking about. So, went off on a tangent there. But yeah, if your brand is not like perfect, I'm doing it like an Italian. But if your brand's not perfect, I would make sure that that's 100%. The packaging that you do for this really should fit you. But if, like I said earlier, if you're eclectic, then this is fine. Then you don't have to worry about it matching your brand, because if your business card and your website and everything else is kind of like different from each other, then you don't really have to worry about it. So now, first and foremost, what exactly is a welcome package? So a welcome package is really a collection of pages that you share with your client during your first meeting, and it's really a good tool to make a good first impression. I actually don't do welcome packets because I rely on my personality and my connection with my clients to make that first impression. And I think that that is way more of a lasting impression to some clients than a fancy little folder with a bunch of papers in it. Now, there's two parts to that, though, and that's the caveat. Is the first part is that personality. You really do have to make a personal touch with your clients and that personal connection. And then there's also the design aspect. You know, that other first impression is that website, is that whatever the client first sees when they contact you, that's what they're going to remember. If you have a crappy website, they're going to remember that. And so it's really important that you understand that there's two parts to that: yourself as a personality level and representing yourself as a professional. And then there's the second part of that, which is how you present yourself on the internet with your website and your branding and your, business card and so on and so forth. So start your client experience off with a solid welcome package. Even though I don't use them, I used to use them. I rely on myself, and then I email my clients afterwards. What the welcome package will do is set the tone for what you will be like with your client. And that's like, is it going to be elegant? Is it going to be really professional? Is it going to be laid back? It also allows you to convey that you're a polished professional. So that's another benefit of that basically, if you have this nice presentational folder, welcome package to your client, it's really great tool to say, hey, look, I'm like super professional. This is how I present myself. It also somewhat helps the clients make a better decision to hire you, because if they are the type of client that really likes that and really sees that, oh wow, this is really, this is a professional design firm, it could actually steer them more to hiring. So in today's episode, really, we're going to talk about what exactly to include. And then this is obviously ambiguous too, because what I think should be included, maybe you find that there's something else that you should include in yours, or you should present yours in a different way. So let's start off there. What to include? Obviously, a cover page. So this should include maybe like a personal story or a letter. I think it should be your story. It should be, why are you a designer? Like what got you to this particular point in your life? It could be a handwritten letter. It could be, which will be a lot of time, but you could even handwrite it and then copy it. It's not a problem. But if you have really bad handwriting, maybe type it and then hand sign it. But that first welcome page with a picture of you or your team is really like, hey, this is who we are as professionals. And that would be your cover. Also, you can include an introduction to the company itself. Like if your company is not by your name, like Timothy Morenzi Designs, then you could make that story of, hey, I'm Timothy, but this is why, X design company exists, because of, my story, and this is who we are as a company. Kind of steer it that way. Next up, you want to do a contact page. So what I do in this is different ways to contact you and the hours, and kind of setting that expectation on, when can you contact me? How can you contact me? And so on and so forth. Also include your social media, Handles include, obviously preferred method of contact. So whether that's email or cell number, or if you're using Indema for communication, definitely outlining, hey, there's, messages inside your client portal, definitely log in. There's a discussion, inside, but outline exactly how you want your clients to contact you. Because I think that expectation set in the beginning is really the key to how your client's going to communicate with you. And then you could also consider putting testimonials and maybe getting, some stuff from past clients on, hey, one sentence, tell me how your project went, or whatever the case is. Next up, I would absolutely do a policies. And the policies could be, payments or cancellations, or, the policies on custom orders, but any really, really detailed information about that you can add that also sets an expectation that maybe you don't want to add in the contract. You could also go on the route of keeping the policies out of the welcome package, because it is kind of like off-putting to say, hey, welcome to our design firm, but here's like ABC on what not to do and our policies. So use this as at your own discretion, because I'm a big fan of setting that expectation in the very beginning, but I also want to make sure that I'm not going to steer my clients away. And that stuff should actually be in your contract, but for whatever reason, if you want to thin your contract out, you can add just the basic policies of like, payment policies, communication policies, and anything else like custom order terms and conditions. Next up, design process. So definitely write out the design process for that client's particular type of project. Now, this could be different from kitchen renovation to bathroom renovation. It could be different for whole house renovation, but type up your whole design process. And that could even go right behind the welcome note, like right behind that cover page to say, welcome to our design firm, or welcome to me. And this is the design process that we handle, and blah, 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 and then kind of go that. And of course, the order that you put this in is really relevant to you. However you want your client to see this information is how you should order it. In addition to the design process, it also gets your client to understand the whole process, of course, and really understand what's going to happen and so on and so forth. And you could even include a timeline of that as well. But the timeline could also be a separate page in itself. Like by the time you get hired by this client, you're going to know the scope of work. So you should have a little bit of an idea on exactly, what dates are going to happen when. And so that would be even an estimate. And you could even note that this is an estimate, of the time frame. It could change. It could stay the same, but always communication, and your clients shouldn't have a problem with you estimating those dates. And then lastly, I would include something about what you expect as a designer. So like, what expectations do you have set for your client? Now, there's an episode about an ebook. I know it was episode number 2, I believe, but back then when I did the episode a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I don't remember, I did say it was free, and then I did a revamp of it. The ebook, if you have an opportunity to grab it, it's $20. The ebook is really phenomenal because it talks about what to know when hiring a designer. On the client side, it talks about those expectations. It talks about the difference between a designer and decorator. It talks about different ways that designers can charge, and so on and so on. It's really, really, really helpful information for your client. So that way they kind of have those expectations before going in there. And you could even give the ebook even before the client hires you as like a free gift, like, thanks for contacting us, here's a free gift, prior to our first meeting. And then you hit them with this welcome pack. Next up, some information about the packaging, itself and what that's going to look like. So use very, very high quality paper. Don't print this on like your Epson printer. You're going to want like a really thick paper, maybe cardstock paper, maybe even, I wouldn't do any kind of like gloss on it. Just regular cardstock would be fine. Consider getting yourself some branded folders. Specifically, you can look at moo.com, moo.com. Moo.com even has amazing, and this isn't sponsored, by the way, but Moo.com has amazing business cards called Luxe. That's the one I use. It's a velvet touch. Oh my God, it's to die for. I get literally compliments every single time I hand out my business card. It's expensive, but it's so worth it because you have like an inlay in the middle of the card that you can choose a different color for. But the feel and the texture of it is so rich. It's amazing. It's called the Luxe Business Card, Luxe, from moo.com, MOO, like the cow. But yeah, so definitely check out moo.com for business cards, and they also have folders as well. You can look at Zazzle branded folders. It's $20 for I think 5. They may have changed last time I looked at it. And then just nicely put, that folder together and then give it to your client. You can even mail it to your client or, hand drop it off or something. But when you give your client a welcome package, it's really like, hey, welcome to our family. Welcome to, working with us and stuff like that. Now, things not to do, because I wanted to save this for last. Avoid way too much like fluff. Don't overstuff your folders with just a bunch of garbage. Make sure it's meaningful stuff. Make sure it's relevant stuff. Make sure it's stuff that you really want your client to know, and that's really important. Then, don't make your stuff too wordy, which goes along with the fluff. But if you become wordy, even in your initial story, like cover story, it becomes a situation of your clients losing interest very, very quickly with it. So you want to keep it short and sweet to the point, but with a kick, with a bam, with a wow factor. And then make sure you don't talk too much about you as a person unless that's your brand. So don't make it all about you. Make it all about the client. Make it all about like why you became a designer. But yeah, so I would say those are the 3 things to avoid. And then, of course, packaging it up, making it look nice, and, making sure that it's presentable to your clients. Well, this has been fun. Definitely check out Indema.co, Indema.co. It's the industry's only and first all-in-one business management platform and project management platform. We just released vision boards a couple of days ago. Fucking phenomenal background remover, state of the art. I am not saying that because I founded it. I literally did side by side. We just released a lot of other features. Google Calendar to release soon. We're growing super fast. Definitely jump in. We're changing pricing in January 2022. So right now, if you want to take advantage of the cheap pricing we have on there, it's going to jump in January by I think $20 a package. So definitely go in there. We're grandfathering everyone right now. So anyone who jumps in to Indema prior to January will stay on the pricing plan that we have now and the packages they have now. Definitely don't want to miss that unless you're wanting to pay more. Then of course you can pay more in January. Definitely reach out if you have any questions. Timothy at theidconsultant.com. I love you all and thank you so much for listening and take care.